Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Rob.
And this is Ask Rob and Rob.
Welcome back to a new year of Ask Rob and Rob. The calendar might be ending in a different number, but nothing changes on our side. We're here to answer 2 more property questions. And as ever, the way to send in your own is so easy.
Oh, it's so easy. It's all in one place. So if you want to call in, leave us a message online, or leave us a Sunday Times question, all you need to do is head over to propertyhub.net/ask, and we will answer your questions. And kicking off the year in style is a question in from Robin.
Hi, Rob and Rob. My name is Robin. Firstly, I'd like to say a massive thanks to you both, as I come from a very working class family and I had no idea about property until I listened to your audiobooks and your podcast. You've given me a lot of knowledge. There's something that I don't understand about tax I was hoping you'd be able to help with. So I'm now in that fortunate position where I have a job that puts me in the higher tax bracket of 40%. This is a job that I want to keep doing and I don't want to stop. So if I buy properties, it'd be through a limited company and it would be to try and retire early, not for money right now. So let's say that I buy a property through a limited company and it gave me £1,000 a month as my rental income, which gives me £12,000 a year. Of that, of course, I'd have to pay the corporation tax, which would then leave me with about £9,600. For simplicity's sake, let's say my mortgage only interest cost me £400 a month, so that's £4,800. So when we take that away from the £9,600, it leaves me with another £4,800 as profit. If I was to keep that within the company and not pay any dividends as I earn enough from my other job, would I then be able to keep that $4,800 within the company each year until I have enough to buy property number 2? Or, as I have another salary which is quite high, do I have to then pay another 20% tax on that remaining $4,800 to make it up to 40%? I hope that makes sense. It's something that I've not really understood, which is the thing that's putting me off trying to get into the property market. Any help and guidance would be much appreciated.
Robin, thank you for your question and your kind words. This is an easy one. Thank you for going easy on me at the beginning of the year. I'm pleased to say that no, you don't have to pay that next lot of tax that you've talked about in your question. So yes, you, in a limited company, you will pay the corporation tax. As long as you leave the money in the limited company and don't take it out, there is no more tax to pay. As you've identified, if you did take it out and paid yourself an additional dividend, then yes, you would be paying tax on that. So you want to roll up the money like you've planned to do and get it to a point where you can buy another property. And what a lot of people aim to do is build up their limited company pots and incomes so that one day they can turn off the income from a job and turn on the income from their limited company. And then they switch over where they're paying tax. But if you're receiving income from both, then it's not very tax efficient. But I'm pleased to say the way you're approaching it is the right way, and you don't have that extra layer of tax that you were worried about. So an easy one to kick off the year, Robin. And luckily, I'm giving you the answer that you wanted. Some good news.
Let's see if we can keep that good news rolling for Dan.
Hi, Rob and Rob. Love the podcast. Learned so much from it over the last 6 months. So I appreciate the work. Keep it up. Question. I've been living in my property, which is a flat, for about the last 10 years, and I've recently decided to emigrate at the end of the year permanently. So I've been looking to sell. I priced the property well and it sold quite quick. However, the sale has now fallen through. Left me in a bit of a position as I've just moved on to a standard follow-on rate and moved in with parents, emptied all the furniture out of the flat. Viewings have been very slow, and I'm told it's probably going to be slow till March, April time. They've told me that the flat will probably rent, and I've looked into it, and it's probably got about a yield of about 10%, but I'll have to furnish it. And obviously, I'll have to look into moving on to a buy-to-let mortgage and things like that. So, which obviously at this current climate will be a very high interest. I've also kind of made my mind up that I do want to sell the property, so I don't really want to get involved in furnishing and everything like that. I've looked down the auction route. However, I'm going to have to set a low reserve to get people interested, so I might even be looking at a further loss. I have got equity in the property, which I do want to have the capital to invest when I move abroad. Just wondering what your advice would be if you was in my position, moving on from here. Thanks very much, gents. Bye.
Dan, thank you for your question. This is a tricky situation and unfortunately is not going to have an easy answer like we did for our previous caller. So you've got a couple of options here. The first is to push ahead with a sale, and it's tricky because whenever you're selling in a rush or from a compromised position, you're never going to do as well as you could in an optimal situation, especially when you can't choose the market conditions that you're selling into. So if this was a pure investment and it had no bearing on anything else at all, then you could just pick your moment. You could sell when the market is hot. But the market at the moment is not hot. It's not terrible, but it's not roaring ahead either. The good news is you do at least have equity in the property. And of course, I understand you want to preserve that equity and you want to take it with you onto some other form of investment in the future. But at least the option to sell is there, whether you price that keenly through an agent or if you go down the auction route. The alternative, of course, is to keep it, which isn't what you want to do, obviously, but there may be ways of making it more palatable. So, for example, you've said you've moved on to a standard variable rate with your lender. If you're going to be keeping the property, what you could do is speak to your lender and see if you can get a consent to let. That would allow you to stay with a residential mortgage, avoiding all the costs associated with switching, but still allow you to rent the property out. And if you do that, then you could also change to a short-term fix or a tracker deal with that lender, which will bring your payments down from the standard variable that you're on now. They might not let you do that, it depends by lender, but if they did, then that would soften the blow there. You could potentially rent the property out on a short-term basis, but I'm going to assume that between mortgage and consents from freeholders, that's not really going to happen. But you could, if you wanted, advertise the property on an unfurnished basis on an initial 6-month tenancy. That way you don't have the cost of furnishing it, and you've got the option of selling again in a relatively short space of time. Now, there's no guarantee, of course, that the tenants will move out when they're supposed to, so you can't say for sure, and you may need to advertise the property at a lower rent because you're only appealing to the subset of the market who would take a property short-term and unfurnished. But even if you're not optimizing your rent, at least it would reduce or eliminate your holding costs and just tide you over until you are in a position to sell. So those are just some ideas. There is no right answer here. It's very much tied up in your own circumstances. But I hope that helps, Dan, and good luck.
Good luck indeed. Okay, that's us done. The year is off to a strong start. Let's carry this on. Let's come back on Thursday with the Property Podcast. And yes, we will be back next Tuesday with Ask Rob and Rob. So until then, take care, have fun, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.